What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WWE Network and Show, where I, Graham G.S. Matthews, break down all the original content I watch on the WWE Network and on Peacock. And today we're talking the April 18, 2022 edition of Raw Talk. Jackie Redmond and Matt Camp kick off the show in the studio, running down the biggest headlines from Monday's Raw, which, honestly, overall, I thought was an enjoyable episode of the show. The wedding stuff notwithstanding, which sucked, and thankfully they do not reference that at all here on Raw Talk. They completely gloss over that, as they should have. Instead, after running down the biggest headlines, they replay the Bianca Belair Sonya Deville segment. We hear backstage from Bianca and Sarah Schreiber. Bianca says that she understood the assignment, in her own words, and she paid the fine. She did as she was told, and paid the fine for her actions on Raw, where she threatened to lay out Deville the KOD. And she promises next week, when she faces Sonya for the Raw Women's Championship, to walk out of her hometown, still the Raw Women's Champion, and to go out and celebrate and show her why Tennessee is the town of the EST, or whatever she said. Peter Rosenberg, who was the special guest analyst on this episode, questions if Deville deserves the opportunity. Did she kind of cut the line a little bit? Yeah, she did. She did. She does, and she did, and she'll continue to do so. He says that she also has her hands full right now with Bianca, and she should be fully focused on that come next Monday night on Raw. Matt Camp says that Bianca's on a roll right now, and that, the odds are certainly in her favor with it being her hometown next week for the Raw Women's Championship. As far as the Edge and Damian Priest stuff goes, attacking AJ Styles backstage, Peter Rosenberg says that this is a different Edge from when the Brood was around 20 years ago. I mean, it's very similar, and Edge mentioned that during his Raw promo. I was very happy he acknowledged that during the show last night. But he even acknowledges this is not the same Edge from 20 years ago. Similar, but not the exact same Edge. And Matt Camp says that it's an evolution of Edge from, the Brood to the Ministry of Darkness to even the Rated R Superstar stuff throughout the 2000s. He's in AJ Styles' head right now. He was before Mania. He still is now. And he has the advantage going into their rematch at WrestleMania Backlash next month. They then recap the RK Bro against Street Profits match that was won by the Prophets. Backstage with Sarah Schreiber, the Prophets tell Sarah that, that they're not done. Dawkins says that they're not done in their pursuit of the Raw Tag Team Championships. They know the stipulation at hand of WrestleMania Backlash, and they've emphasized that they've beaten RK Bro twice before, last night on Raw and going into WrestleMania, albeit by accident, legitimately. But in storyline, they have beaten RK Bro twice already, which is only one over, because I think RK Bro beat them previously at day one to retain the Raw Tag Team titles, but that was only once. Profits are now 2-1 as far as their record goes against RK Bro. And Dawkins, Montez Ford doesn't really say anything. Dawkins simply says that they're creeping around the corner as far as they shouldn't be underestimated, that they're still a threat in that Raw Tag Team division. Matt Camp once again references the fact they never lost the Raw Tag Team titles. They never lost, as Angelo Dawkins likes to say. They were never actually beaten for the Raw Tag Team titles. They simply traded them, exchanged them in a way, for the SmackDown Tag Team titles back in late 2020. So, going forward, coming off of their loss at WrestleMania 38, they have to do things a way that they normally wouldn't in order to get another match with RK Bro for the Raw Tag Team titles, and they're making big moves right now. And Jackie Redmond kind of emphasizes not to sleep on them at the moment. They then replay the Seth Rollins-Cody Rhodes segment that started Raw before recapping the Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens main event. Fun fact, that was actually the match that served as the dark match after the post-WrestleMania Raw that they went to 2 weeks ago. So they did the match once again, kind of unadvertised. Kevin Owens was the mystery opponent for Cody that night. For this night, rather, for Monday's episode of Raw. And hopefully they go back to it at some point. I thought what we got was a good match. They then recap the United States Championship match that saw Theory beat Balor for the Star-Spangled Prize. We hear backstage from Kevin Patrick and Theory tells him that he can't be upset. Normally he would be upset about someone like Kevin Patrick interrupting his selfie time, but he can't be upset he's the new United States Champion. He talks about his journey and how he's done everything Vince McMahon told him to do as his mentor, and now he's going to make the legacy of that championship even better. And he's going to have the greatest celebration known to man now that he's the new United States Champion. Peter Rosenberg says that Theory has it all. Camp backs him up and says that he has a lot of potential. He shined on the grand stage of WrestleMania despite falling short to Pat McAfee, a fucking commentator. But still, he had a great showing that night, had one of the better bouts of the entire weekend. And now it's upward and onward as far as the United States Championship is concerned and his own career. And Rosenberg, as far as the Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins stuff goes, Rosenberg says that Cody's ready to take it to another level, And Matt Camp references Cody's goal of wanting to become a world champion in WWE, do what his other Rhodes family members couldn't, Dusty and Dustin, and winning a world championship in WWE. The crowd's behind him right now. He's got all the momentum. Peter Rosenberg says that it's always an exciting moment whenever Cody walks through the curtain, which I would agree with. He's been a recurring highlight on the show lately, which is funny, and as I mentioned elsewhere before, he was one of the worst parts of AEW Dynamite towards the end there, so he's right back in his element in WWE. And I enjoyed Cody's AEW run overall, but it is funny how he went from being one of the worst parts of that program for quite a while there, for quite a few months, to now being one of the best parts of Raw in recent weeks. So I don't know what that means exactly, but it has been cool to see for Cody heading into his rematch with Rollins at WrestleMania Backlash. So that's it for the April 18th, 2022 edition of Raw Talk. Thank you guys, as always, for checking out my reviews. Pretty standard edition here, nothing too great. We did get our first comments from the new U.S. champion, so that was notable. The Prophets interview kind of was what it was, and the Bianca interview was fine too. So some nice hype for next week as far as the Raw Women's Championship match is concerned, and the fallout of Theory being the new United States champion, and whatever's next for RK Bro and the Prophets as they head into WrestleMania Backlash. Like I said, guys, thank you for checking out my reviews. I appreciate it. Be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. If you haven't already, hit the bell button to be notified every time a new video goes up. Have an awesome one, guys. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.